The Visitor has returned to the Fortnite Storyline, bringing with him the shocking reveal that Fortnite's OG mode is canon. Now, how this was revealed was truly a blink and you miss it moment, but if you were paying close attention to those greatest hits quests in the OG mode, you would notice that each season had a different OG past character that has been talking to us through these quests, with Season 4's character being the Visitor, and one of these lines put the entire storyline community on high alert, and it was the one for eliminating players at Risky Reels or Dusty Divot, where the Visitor says, "I remember these places fondly," indicating that he has been to this island before, meaning that in an unbelievable twist, this is actually the original Visitor who we last saw getting chromed at the end of Chapter 3. But how is the Visitor alive and how did he get here? Why is the Chapter 1 island back? And is this connected to the Chapter 6 storyline? Well folks, I believe I put all of the pieces together, so strap in as we've got a lot to go over in this video. And if you do enjoy it, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts below. It really helps out. So first things first, before even tackling how the Visitor got back to the Chapter 1 island, we need to establish how the island itself is back, and how it's seemingly coexisting alongside the Chapter 6 island, which from here on out I'll be referring to as its canon name, Oninoshima. So funny enough, these two islands coexisting actually confirmed a theory I had in my Chapter 6 Season 1 full story video, that there are now multiple loops. And we actually saw proof of this during the recent Star Wars event, as a new reality bubble that was identical to Reality Zero's was seen surrounding Oninoshima. But how is this even possible? Well, it may have taken almost 2 years, but I believe I have finally solved what truly happened during the Big Bang event. So just to recap, at the end of Fortnite's OG mini-season, Jones had traveled back in time from Chapter 4 to stop reality from collapsing, and to do so, he rammed a reality warping version of the Visitor's rocket into the 0 point, stopping the original timeline from ever concluding. Many originally thought this reset the entire timeline, making everything that happened in Chapters 1 through 4 no longer canon, but that's not what actually happened. The universe wasn't entirely reset, but was soft rebooted. Sure, there are changes here and there, but a lot of things remain the same, which is why we should consider everything that's happened in Chapters 5 and 6 as canon, and everything beforehand as secondary canon until we're told otherwise. But what does this mean for the 0 point? Well, it too has gone through some changes. For starters, shards of the 0 point have drifted across the Omniverse, one of which our characters have been after this entire chapter. This shard trapped Oninoshima in a reality bubble and created a new loop as a defense mechanism, just as the original 0 point did in Reality Zero. But since this loop is wild and isn't being manipulated by the imagined order, it's a little bit different, which is why characters stuck in this loop are able to speak and even keep some of their memories. And I don't believe that this is an incident isolated to Oninoshima. I believe this also happened to the Chapter 5 island, meaning that this island was not Reality Zero post the Big Bang event like we had originally thought, but another reality affected by a 0 point shard, which would explain why the actual 0 point was never present, but characters like Valeria were suddenly so fascinated by it. So now we've established that multiple loops do exist in the Omniverse that have been created by stray 0 point shards that broke off of the original 0 point during the Big Bang event. But where is the actual 0 point now? Well, this season we finally got our first hint towards its whereabouts via this hologram in Utopia City, where we can clearly see the 0 point sitting in the same vault we were originally introduced to it all the way back in Chapter 1 Season 8. But I don't think this is just a reference. I believe this is actually live footage, meaning the 0 point is currently in the OG reality. And this finally brings me to explaining how the OG mode fits into the current storyline. So we know from several end chapter events that whenever Reality Zero has been destroyed, the 0 point has always found a way to rebuild it. Because as we've established in the past, the 0 point is alive, and not only does it consider Reality Zero its home, it also uses it as a way to defend itself. And after being hit by the rocket, I believe the 0 point decided that the safest place to heal itself would be in its earliest state, Chapter 1 Season 1, which it rebuilt by using the parts of the island that were around during the OG mini-season. But by resetting itself like this, it's actually been recreating past events, but in real time. So in other words, we haven't gone back in time to Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is happening at the same time the events on Oninoshima are happening, and we actually got our first hint that these islands are coexisting back in Chapter 6 Season 1, as we saw the first OG past characters were present on Oninoshima as seen in one of the Night Rose's loading screens. So not only is Chapter 1 repeating, but now it's also directly connected to Oninoshima. I know this sounds crazy, but there's also evidence of this currently on the island, and this is where the visitor comes into play. So we've seen in the past that the Zero Point is not only able to pull parts of other worlds into Reality Zero, like it did during the Fracture event, but it can also call characters to Reality Zero. And if the Zero Point really is recreating Chapter 1, I believe that the Zero Point intentionally grabbed the visitor from wherever the Chrome had taken him, freeing him from the last reality's captivity. And now that the visitor is free and has regained his bearings, he's already gone to work on recreating his reality-hopping rocket he used back in the original Season 4, which I assume he'll likely be using in his attempt to rescue the other captured 7 members, and we know he'll be enacting this plan in about a month when Epic reruns the Blast Off live event. But this time when the rocket leaves the Chapter 1 island, I suspect we'll see it appear again on Oninoshima, as this has been depicted in one of Hope's recent paintings. And if you don't know why that's important, or just need a refresher on Chapter 5 lore, it was discovered that Hope has the power to predict the future through her art. A really important piece of Chapter 5 story we strangely haven't seen present in the Chapter 6 storyline in a couple seasons now, so glad to see it's being used again. And it's pretty clear that this piece of Hope's is clearly depicting a rocket ship coming out of one of Daigo's spires. So personally, I suspect we won't see the rocket on Oninoshima immediately, but during a mini or full live event at the end of this season, the visitor will likely at least pass through Oninoshima, or he may even decide to join the fight against Daigo. Well, that was a lot, wasn't it? But I am pretty confident in this theory. Sure, things may not be 100% correct, but hey, I make these theories to both have fun and create what I hope you all find to be an interesting video at the end of the day. And hey, if my theory ends up being wrong, that's alright. I'm not some entitled weirdo that thinks I can write better than everyone at Epic Games. But just to conclude things here, let me know your thoughts on my theory down in the comments section, and again, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the theory. It truly does seem like Fortnite Storyline is back in full force here, merging together parts of the story from the past and the present chapters. And for the first time in what seems like forever, I'm truly interested to see where they take the story from here. Because it seems like the writers really have all of the pieces in place to have an absolutely amazing storyline again.